What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown. My name is Zach from Another Letdown Media, and this is the show where we hang out at the end of a week and work through the ridiculous backlog of miniatures we've accumulated that need painting. There's an old adage that says if a miniatures painter ever runs out of projects to paint, he or she will die. So we're just trying to stave off death for as long as possible, of course. And joining me on the line, as always, our perennial painting partner and resident monkey handler, it's Broody Gambit. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Me
How are you doing?
Too. I'm good. I'm good. It's been a very busy week. Lots of things happened, some of which were very lovely and some of which were not so lovely. But that's fine. I got to, we'll break into that as we start painting. Tonight on the show, we got a cavalcade of Marvel Crisis Protocol minis, either from C27 minis in Terrain or from Atomic Mass Games. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. As with all the shows that we host here on the channel, we believe in civil rights for absolutely everyone and being as inclusive as possible. So any comments or activity actively working against that goal are not welcome and will not be tolerated. Let's paint. Oh, I've still got the rubber band from my wet palette on my wrist. Let's paint some minis. I am working on Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, in honor of my good buddy Kyle. Mike, you've met Kyle via the digital tabletop several times.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. We like him a lot. And I am going for his Shang-Chi's first appearance in comics, including... so this is, what is it? Marvel Special Marvel Edition number 15. And this is dated, I don't even know when. Quite frankly, I'm not concerned with it. Looks like 1960s, maybe early 70s. So, and then, and Mike is working on a pair of Hulks, both Jen and Bruce. So, two of my favorite characters, I'll tell you that much. I need red. I need lots of red. Is it Viscera red? Or am I going straight to Blood Rights? Let's go Blood Rights.
I need lots of green.
Yeah. We're it's early Christmas here on the stream. So I got to spend the day with my best friend today.
That's good.
I call her my sister usually, but she is my best friend. She brought the kids up, and come to find out that my eldest niece, is once again living here in New Hampshire and didn't bother to tell us. She assumed we knew, and so
that
we
asshole
today. Be nice, Mike.
I know. Sorry,
but it just means we can include her in things again. Which
Yeah.
is nice. So, and then this week was... This was one of those weeks, and I'm sure you've experienced this, and I'm sure anybody who works in any kind of professional capacity experiences this from time to time. Like, everybody in the school was just inexplicably mad at each other. And, like, not... I shouldn't say that. No, we were just inexplicably mad and taking it out on each other. Not intentionally. And it just kind of sucked and drained the energy right the heck out of me. Which was part of why I did not stream yesterday. But the other part was I got to play in a really cool RPG with Trevor. Our friend Trevor.
Yep.
It was called Mothership. By the makers of Two Rooms and a Boom. Another game that I absolutely love. And
define boom.
Say again?
Define boom. Like an explosion boom, or like a boom mic? Okay.
Yeah, two Rooms and a Boom. I'll get into that in a second because it's a really cool game. It's a social deduction game. But Mothership it kind of cherry picks some cool elements from several other RPG systems, including my personal favorite, Call of Cthulhu. In so much as it is a D percentage based system. So your stats are generally pretty high, and you're just trying to roll above them.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they're low, and you're trying to roll above them, and it's difficult. Or sorry, below them. Below them. You're looking for a low roll.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had a lot of fun. We were investigating this sort of derelict mining station. Or not derelict. It wasn't even derelict because it was a functional mining station. But there was a strange, like, yellow goop that was killing people.
Okay.
And I was playing this sort of gruff robotics technician. Or, I mean, my rank was scientist, but I was like, he's more. I'm envisioning this. Like, once I saw his stats on paper, I was like, oh, this guy isn't like. Yes, he's got a doctorate, but he's more like Scruffy the janitor from Futurama. Also, Trevor completely inadvertently, or at least so he claims, designed the ship we arrived on as the Planet Express delivery company ship.
Nice.
So I was just like, okay, let's lean into this. And the other players seemed to kind of get on board. We had a Bender like, we had a Fry like, we didn't have a Leela like because there were only 4 of us, but like it was really funny. Yeah, it was a good time. Definitely ran way longer than we hoped it would. But when you have a good crew who are willing to like dive in and become the characters they've created, the time goes really fast and it's very smooth. Trevor, I think, was a little bummed because we didn't get to see it through the whole ending, whatever. But I've found recently that, like, I don't love Dungeons and Dragons. I've always, I mean, WotC's handling of their property aside, like, I've never really loved the sort of combat stuff that it leans into so heavily. I much prefer like social interaction stuff. Basically, like the Call of Cthulhu premise or thought line is if you get into combat, you're probably already dead. So it teaches you to sort of talk your way out of things and do things that way, and that's definitely how I prefer to play RPGs. You know, as someone with improv and voice acting experience, like, that just appeals to me on an extra level. But yeah, it was a good time. Trevor put together a really good story, and it's a bummer to me that, like, that's why, like, why it had to end is, you know, I'm in a different time zone than they are, and I was like, Trevor, it's now 1:00 where I am. Like, I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Goes, oh, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like, and to you know, to that extent, to that extreme, there was certainly consideration to texting you and being like, hey, I can't tonight. But when I saw Shang-Chi sitting on my workbench, I was like, oh, okay, he's straightforward enough. I can deal with this. I can do Shang-Chi tonight. Just a bunch of red, maybe a little yellow. I am going to attempt something clever with his hair, though, to get that sort of authentic 1960s, 70s feel. But we'll burn that bridge when we cross it. Honestly, that's probably something that will happen next week. We'll see. We'll see how far we get.
Sorry.
You're good.
So, like, kind of just circling back the conversation a lot.
Yeah.
I play in several D&D games, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's definitely not like my favorite, but it's such an uphill. It's kind of like Magic the Gathering, also owned by Wizards, but it's like got so much name recognition that like other card games can't really like
they can't compete.
Get into
There's
that same It's like all name recognition, not necessarily quality of product, and D&D is like that for the tabletop role playing scene essentially.
Yes,
it's just got so many like just so much name recognition because it's been around for so long, because like for the longest time it was like the only option you had,
right?
That it just like
or the only option anybody cared about anyway.
Yeah, and it was just like there are better systems to do different things, and I also do enjoy the combat aspect of it, like the origins of D&D in like an extrapolation of, for the most part, tabletop wargaming.
Right. Yeah, and
In
like
its origin.
I don't disdain combat situations. It's fine. I just prefer to role play my way out of things. I'll never forget. So, the first time I tried anything else and was actually, well, no, I should. I'll restate that. I'll reform that statement. The first time I deliberately played anything else, so was of course Sentinel Comics roleplay game. That kind of got me away from D&D. I was just curious to see what the experience was, and of course Christopher and Adam had sent me or Christopher and Paul, I guess I should say, because I wasn't as close with Adam as I am now at that point. Christopher and Paul had sent me a very, very early draft of SCRPG to kind of just test the water. I still have it. It's behind me. And I was like, oh, wow, this teaches players so much more efficiently how to get into the headspace of a character, because the contention is you aren't playing the character so much as the writer responsible for that character. And that is a through line that I use to pitch Sentinel Comics roleplay game to people even now. It doesn't require the same thinking as Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons, like, yes, very much kick in the door, beat everything up, then decide what's going on. Don't love that. And so when we played SCRPG for the first time, and then subsequently Call of Cthulhu shortly after that, my play group like kind of leveled up. Like we really started to understand the aspects of D&D that we were missing. And so after that break, so our regular dungeon master, Todd, had basically, like, I guess he changed jobs or something like that, and he couldn't run the game for a while, and that's why I was like, all right, well, let's run Call of Cthulhu, let's run Sentinel Comics, and just kind of see where this takes us. Our party had changed their mindset so much that it kind of blew him away. Like, he had this whole like combat encounter set up for us, this whole, through line, whatever, and we just diplomacied our way around it, because that's what we were now trained to do via our experiences with other products. And like, he had to send us home early one night because he was so ill prepared for us to diplomacy. He just thought we were going to fight, because that's what we'd done when he had left. And it really just wrecked his mind, but it also completely fundamentally changed all of our play style. And D&D became much cooler at that point because we could balance it all out, and we started to be able to read each other a lot better. So I do think there's merit in trying other systems to sort of get better at any given one. So I like, if someone says, hey, let's play D&D, I'm not going to say no. I may not be as invested in it as I was like when I first got into the RPG stuff, or got back into it, I should say. But I can use it as a learning experience to improve my approach to other systems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you're good.
No. I was just gonna kind of like bouncing off of that conversation. My role playing experience is like the opposite of yours. My first role playing game was a system called Basic Fantasy, which was like an OSR style game.
Yeah.
Like kind of bare bones, essentially, like being OSR was like D&D 2 or like D&D 1.5 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then kind of I bounced from that to like Savage Worlds and played Deadlands and like the FFG Star Wars, and
which is great, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely, FFG Star Wars is probably my favorite RPG system Even like, I mean, even if you have your funny dice that you have to figure out what to do with, but just the problem with Fantasy Flight games in general is like they make their own custom dice or
they
whatever.
love their own proprietary dice. This coming
But
from
like
a Legend of the Five Rings fan, so
yeah. But I had played through like a dozen different role playing games before going to D&D, and
yeah,
like D&D is never really like I keep playing it and I'm just like, I've played so many better systems that it's like I'll play it because so like that sort of like that name recognition thing is what gets me, because it's like like I have played better systems and I know there are better systems out there, and if people would just be willing to try different things, like it's like the possibilities are endless at that point in time,
right,
for
exactly
what you want to do.
Yep, and it's just a willingness thing, because I mean I think on some level everybody just wants to be Critical Role, and
yeah,
the
that is another
reality
problem.
You're never going to be that ever.
Yeah.
All of those people already had, again, it comes back to name recognition. They were already known in the industry, and
known voice actors that like have lots of experience doing your funny voices and having like absurdly good written people and editing and like all of those like filmmaking techniques that kind of like make their like Matt Mercer's like live streams or podcasts or however you're viewing it. Like yeah, it's just so much a higher quality that it's like, no, you're not really going to compete with that at all. And
right, and if you do, like, good for you, but like,
yeah,
clearly if you have that capability, you either have too much time on your hands or are already established in some way.
this green is too runny, it's not coding well.
I think I ran into that when I did Hulk also. Now is that a new version of AMG Hulk?
Yeah, it's like the I forget what it's called. They released a like Immortal Hulk, I think is what they call this model,
okay,
as opposed to like the standard Hulk. So it's like it has its own different like card and all the other stuff, but so it's like a different option that you can play. But yeah, it came in with like a completely different sculpt. Oh, that's upside down. Of him like leaping through the air and it exploding and shattering underneath him.
Okay. See, I like the first draft, I guess, for lack of a better description. That's the one I have. And,
yeah.
Jen I got through C27. Somewhere.
Yeah, I like the original one, but I do like that is like this more dynamic pose type version. Like they each have their merit.
Yeah. Yep, there's always something to be said for a little variety. So I did rewatch. I got my physical copy of Deadpool and Wolverine in.
Oh, nice.
I gave it a rewatch.
Did it hold up?
No.
No,
it did not. Now, I will continue that thought line because it is much more nuanced than I'm making it sound. It's not that it was unfun. It definitely was fun. And continues to be and will continue to be. And I don't regret my purchase at all. But it really woke me up to, or seeing some of those scenes like in a situation where I can kind of get critical about them, woke me up to some of the things that bother me about cinema these days.
Yeah.
Famously, that movie uses a technique that they refer to as a oneer. Now, a oneer in the industry is like a one shot, like no cut, kind of like showpiece. Like, hey, look at what we can do with the camera.
Kind of like the hallway scene in Daredevil or something.
Yes, absolutely. And what sets the hallway scene apart, is their use of practical, like that is an actual Warner. Like they never cut, and it's like
they did tricks with like the stunt double to like kind of.
It's called the cowboy switch, and yeah, lots of cowboy switching, and the fact that the Deadpool and Wolverine oneer, that's the fight with all the Deadpools, is so laden with CGI to make that happen. You can even, like, if you're looking, you can tell the discrepancies between the camera movement and the digital camera movement.
Yeah.
The virtual camera. And I'm like, okay, that actually kind of that explains way more than way more about how I'm feeling about cinema, like especially comic book cinema, but like just filmmaking in general these days. It isn't. It's not that it's not art, because like if they were using AI to do it, then that'd be a problem. That'd be a much bigger problem. But like, it's just not the art that I was trained on and was raised on. It's like going to an art expo expecting to see Michelangelo and getting
Donatello,
Banksy. It's a different it's just a different medium. And like, there's no disrespect there. It's just not what it's a discrepancy in expectation for me. So it's just it's less of a disappointment and more just like a bother. Like, it's like, that's not really what I want here.
Yeah. Nah, I was about to say, I didn't know like any of the technical terms that you spouted out at that point in time.
Sorry.
But that scene in particular, like, I mean, I could follow it at least, but like even my first time watching it, I was like, something doesn't feel right about it.
Yeah.
And while I wouldn't have been able to like tell you all the technical jargon about like the like makeup of like what was problematic with that shot, like, yeah, like I agree that something just didn't feel right as a whole.
Yeah, it just feels wrong on some level, and it's it just feels like a subversion of expectation that, quite frankly, we don't need. And again, like, I do enjoy it. It's a fun movie. I will continue to watch it as, you know, the opportunity presents itself. It still makes me laugh. Obviously, Channing Tatum is a joy. You know, I feel like we're beyond the statute of limitations on spoilers here. But like, I don't know. I just, like, I'd love to see a back to basics, like practically shot superhero movie at this point, just to kind of refresh my palate a little bit.
Come to think of it, like you're talking about like the like just that one single shot thing, and like with so much CGI and stuff, and obviously like Daredevil made it like really popular.
Yes.
And they did a lot of the practical effects and stuff like that. I'm surprised they didn't try to lampoon the fact of what they did in Daredevil, like by actively showing like a stunt double swap or like doing something like that, which seems much more as a joke for Deadpool. That's like, you get that shot that looks great, but then you get to like critique it and like poke fun at it also at the same time.
Yeah,
in a like
I
in
feel
a
like they
meta
could have
way.
leaned on that a little bit more. Yeah, I think there's just some openings that they didn't close. I think it's, at the end of the day, it's still really tangential. I mean, the only kind of even acknowledgement of the MCU that, like, properly that we got was, you know, the Marvel Jesus through line and the
Thor crying
and of course Happy basically telling Deadpool to get lost. And I was just like, all right, it's not right, but like, okay. And it's not. I hope this isn't coming off as me putting comic book saying, "Hey, comic book movies get good." Like
they do need to at times.
They do, yeah, for sure. But like, I don't know. I think it woke me up to a second viewing. Woke me up to why I'm personally feeling superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
I genuinely am looking forward to. There's rumors of an Ocean's 11 reboot, or relaunch or something. I don't know what you're gonna call it, but because it's Clooney and the gang are back, I guess. But again, those movies were all shot. Actually, what made Ocean's 12 difficult to watch was it had CGI in, and it really didn't need it.
Sorry, I'm sitting here with a milkshake also, so.
With what?
I'm sitting here with a milkshake, so I'm trying not to like slurp too much or anything like that.
I actually am suffering from a lack of kombucha tonight. I forgot to go to the store today. Boy, they didn't have painting in mind when they made this model. His hands are so close to his body.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. And it's, of course, 3D printed, so it's not even my fault. I'm actually using a tan for the base coat on his flesh. To match that comic book appearance. Obviously, I'll hit it with the flesh shade, but well, for a different skin tone. Shang-Chi definitively different than Iron Fist, who is, of course, whiter than sour cream. Speaking of Iron Fist, I have been reading some of the issues I picked up last week. They're very fun. Glad I did. But I'm also reading the new Richard Osman novel, which is called We Solve Murders. And it's great. Strong recommend. Oops. Heavy-handed with the brush here, no big deal. So in his original comic book appearance, Shang-Chi had much more flowy, like, sleeves. This one is more of a modern gi. But that's okay. Still plenty of room for creativity here.
As I'm like halfway done with Hulk, I'm just like thinking, wait a second, I have a normal Hulk. Why not do like the Gray Hulk or something?
Oh, and I was
like, crap. Thinking of like original or older pictures or versions.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been cool. We do have, somewhere in the drive, we have Joe Fixit. Did you see that there were some leaked photos of what appears to be Nicolas Cage on set in Spider-Man Noir?
I thought they already announced that he was doing that.
Well, yeah, but they haven't shown like costume photos or anything like that yet.
Oh no, I haven't seen that, but
yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't. I'm so without opinion on that sort of property. Like, he was funny in Spider-Verse, but
I mean, he didn't really do much in Spider-Verse. Like, he was there.
He was there, and like the mere fact that it was Nicolas Cage was funny. But
because like he didn't really have much lines of dialogue either. So
right, yeah, and the ones he did were just kind of throwaway gags,
like the Rubik's Cube and stuff.
Right. Oh god, this is gonna be a pain. I need a small brush. Guess that's why I got these Games and Gears ones, right? I did finally do some surgery to my Games and Gears brushes, so they're not just constantly falling apart anymore.
What was wrong with them?
This particular run of brushes had a discrepancy in the diameter of this piece and the handle.
Oh yeah.
So I talked to the guy. He's like, "Oh, just put a tiny piece of Scotch tape in there." So I performed a little bit of surgery, and off we go.
I had that issue with some of mine as well. But I had like the opposite problem. Like I had like one or two that were like really loose, but some that were like really tight, and I couldn't like open without pulling like the insert out.
Yeah, I had that too.
Okay. Is that one of the synthetics? I thought it was the green one, right?
Gray. Silver.
Huh?
The silver.
Oh, sorry.
But yes, I believe it is synthetic. Oh, crud.
What'd you do?
Flinched. No, dude looks possessed. That's okay, we'll fix it.
So I had my normal game day today, pretty much.
Okay.
So it started out on a bad note.
Okay.
I overslept.
Oh no.
So normally on Saturdays, like on my own, I tend to get up around like 8 o'clock ish or something like that.
Reasonable.
Without like an alarm or anything like that. So, I woke up at 8:45 today, which is problematic. So, so I intended to get up at 8. I could get ready. Like we play at 10 o'clock. For Arkham, and it's like at my friend's house. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up at 8, shower, get ready. I got to kind of move some cards around because like I have a couple Arkham decks built currently, and I've just got to make sure that the right cards are in the right deck so I can play the character that I'm supposed to be playing. And then I was going to assemble a Marvel Champions deck for later this afternoon.
Sure.
So I woke up at 8:45 instead of 8, so that set me behind a bit.
Yep.
And so I ended up like showering and like getting ready, and then kind of like hastily putting it to putting the decks and stuff together. but since we're playing at 10, like by the time I finished doing all that, it was like 9:45 or something. So I left. I still stopped to get like breakfast and stuff because like I need to eat something.
Yeah. Of course.
So like that was kind of like a regardless, I was going to need to do that, but I did not get to go to the post office like I intended to do to mail off the Arkham stuff for you.
That's all right. I've
So
been
I was
watching the
trying to
mail
get,
because like both you and Jacqueline, I'm waiting on packages from. I'll dive into that in a minute.
yeah. So then ended up getting there and found out that like our group is like 4 players. It's a friend of mine, like husband and wife,
Yep.
and then like a another person, and then me. That's our 4 players for
Sure.
Arkham. I get there and find out that the wife, because they like run their own business, had to like got called into work because someone called out sick and like needed to meet with a client. So like at 10 o'clock, she left to go handle that. And so we ended up, instead of getting to finish our Dream Eater campaign, because we've been on the finale for the past 2 months, and just like
Oh, no.
someone has to cancel, and so we haven't been able to do that yet. So we ended up setting up the blob, and we did like the blob that ate everything else. So we had all the new cards and stuff. So, and we ended up playing it, and it was fun.
As it often is, Blob is
Yeah.
fun. What was I thinking
So
of
that,
Blob the other day? I don't remember. It's fine.
but then, so like that was fine, and great. Had a lot of fun. Then I went to go do Marvel, and we've been doing like the challenges that Fantasy Flight has been releasing.
Yeah, nice.
Like it's a fun, easy way for like organized play to kind of get groups together and just be like, okay, well, we're playing against this villain under these circumstances, to like just kind of play.
Yeah.
And the challenge this week was to face Magog from the Mojo campaign, who's I'm not, if you haven't played him,
Well, I
it's
think
set
when
kind of
we
like,
left off, we were in the middle of the Mojo campaign. So.
oh
Right?
yeah, yeah. So his like first scenario is the one where it's like Cargo Warfang from Sentinels, where it's like you don't
Right.
necessarily have to beat him, but you have to like get ratings,
Yes.
like and impress the crowd in order to like succeed at the mission or the scenario.
Right.
The change for the challenge is that every round he automatically stole 1 per player ratings from the challengers, and you moved it to his. So you
Oh.
were like, once you started getting ratings, you had to keep going. Otherwise, you were on like a severe time limit, because he would just take it from you, and like you were both seeing who could get to 10 per player first.
Wow, that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
We managed to just barely do it. He had like 4 left, so essentially he would have stolen the 4 he needed to win on like 1 turn, and we managed to like swing in and get like 50 from him, or 5 per player, so I guess 20. That put us at like the 40 we needed to win.
Nice. That's awesome.
Like all in the 1 turn, when he had like 20 something health left.
That's really good.
So that was exciting. And while in person I tend to just play the heroes as they come,
Yeah,
instead of the deck building, which like I do when we play it online, because it's a lot easier to just import a deck from the Marvel DB online.
Yeah.
And
shout out to the devs, by the way. Like, my golly.
Yeah, those all of them for like Marvel and Arkham and everything are just amazing.
Yeah, quality product.
But like one of the other players has been kind of like hounding me a bit, and it's like, why don't you actually do some deck building and other stuff like that? And instead of like you do really like you do amazing work with just like the stock decks, like you kind of make like certain characters that seem unplayable, like you can figure out how to like get them to work well. Like how much better would you be if you were like deck building yourself? And I'm like, okay. So finally I decided to do it, and I did it with Nightcrawler this week.
Nice.
And so his deck, he's got 3 Bamf upgrades that you play on enemies. And on the alter ego side, he has an action to search his deck for one, and on his hero side, he can spend a resource to pull one back out of his discard pile.
Oh, yes.
And when it's attached to an enemy, you can discard it when the enemy attacks in order to become the defender of the attack without having to exhaust your hero.
Oh, that's sick.
So like I built a protection deck, built all around like essentially not taking damage but defending as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then dealing damage back with retaliate and various other events and stuff.
Nice.
So after playing the first one with Magog, we ended up going up against Apocalypse just for kicks and grins. And in one scenario,
so
it just
nobody
had like
ever.
Yeah. In like one of the one turn, I just had like the perfect cards in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a Bamf on Apocalypse, and so when he attacked me, I discarded it.
Yep.
And I played an event that Nightcrawler has that when you discard it, discard Bamf, you return it to your hand and deal 3 damage to the enemy it came from.
Okay.
So Apocalypse attacks me, took 3 damage from that. I defended, and then I played an event called Riposte that came with Nightcrawler where it's like you get +2 defense, and if you take no damage, you deal 3 damage to the enemy. With that put my defense at like 7. So even with like his boost card and stuff like that, he didn't get anywhere close to dealing enough damage to hurt me. So then I like hit him for 3 with Riposte. Nice. And I built up the deck to have like 3 retaliate at that point in time because I was all set up.
Yeah.
So I hit him for 3 again because he attacked me.
Wow.
And I wasn't ready, or I was still ready because of like of that first because of the Bamf card. He proceeds to then activate against another player, so I like exhaust to defend that guy. And so he attacks, and I play one that's like +2 defense, and if you take no damage, you ready your hero. So he attacks me. I have 7 defense again, and don't take damage, so I retaliate 3, and then ready.
Oh my god.
And because I had unflappable, because I took no damage, I could draw cards, and so I'd ended up drawing a bunch of cards and drew another Riposte. So when he activated against a third person, I defended that person, and then played the Riposte, and dealt him 3 damage, and then retaliated 3 more. I think in the end, I dealt like 18 damage to him on the villain turn.
Wow.
And like didn't take a single point of damage from that. It was just absolutely silly. Like the other players just weren't even paying attention. They were just like all chatting and stuff while I was like, let me just do the entire villain turn, and you guys, I'll let you know when it's your turn to do stuff, because you don't really need to make any choices because I'm just going to take all of the attacks for you.
Nightcrawler as tank.
Yeah. It was absurdly funny.
Speaking of cooperative superhero games, though.
Yeah.
We both got giant packages in this week.
I did get a giant package in, and can I say, it looks gorgeous.
Look a little closer.
What?
So, 2 of my spider bots came broken.
Okay. The spider bots, like from the
cosmic encounter, or cosmic.
Yeah, the expansion.
Yeah.
I was about to say the packaging wasn't great. Like it looks good.
Yes.
Like the art in the box look great.
Yes. The font that they used on quite a considerable amount of the text boxes is Comic Sans.
Okay.
That made me royally pissed off.
But it's a comic book. It should be in Comic Sans, right?
No. I'll start calling you Gregory. No, it's like Adam insists that it's not Comic Sans and it's just really, really close. But I'm like, I don't care. It's way too close for me to be happy.
It's close
enough. I waited 4 years for this game.
Has it really been that long?
3 years. It's been 3 years at least. Like I knew about it a year ahead of that, so I would say yes. You'd think that they'd, not cheap out like that. The box control, as we mentioned, is horrendous.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, all like so many of my minis were like all every which way, like not in their slots because they didn't fit.
Yeah.
Or
but
like
also
it had just
like
moved around during the shipping and transport.
But also like there's a lot of like someone didn't
wasted space.
There's a lot of wasted space, a lot of airspace in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
I was
complaining
about that. Like, I was about to say an entire set of the Augs like TMNT and or the Batman like has absurdly more content and fits in a smaller like shelf space.
Right. So I will be attacking that box with my 3D printer very soon.
Yeah, I love the like individual hero like little boxes.
I do too. But
like
it's not
I like
necessary.
how it's like, yeah, but everything's all like ready for a hero that you can just pull out. I think like if the character card was smaller so they could cut off that like extra section, it'd be a lot better.
Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed. But here we are. Freedom 5 game. I don't even think we've mentioned what we're talking about. We're talking about the Freedom 5 game.
Yeah.
From Arcane Wonders.
Like I was gonna say, like I was starting to read through. I'm not sure if I like told you this on Discord or not. I was like glancing through the rule book, and just feel like, goodness, it's been so long since I've played with you guys or just played the game in general from like the early release, like on the tabletop.
Yeah, when they sponsored us to stream it. Yeah.
That like I just completely forgot like so much of like I thought I had like at least a somewhat of a grasp still on the rules, then started like looking through it. I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Like I'm gonna have to like really dive into this to kind of pick it up again. Yeah,
and there's another game coming out soon that is like, I don't want to say it's similar because it's really not, but it's. I've played that more recently, and it's similar enough. I'm not using its name deliberately here. It's similar enough that I'm like getting the two confused. So yeah, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, overall, it was very like, eh.
Yeah,
like other than. Like, okay. I thought the art on the box looked great.
Yep.
I love that. Like, I didn't notice this at first until I was like showing it to someone else. Like when I opened it, the font is so small that I didn't realize that all of the Kickstarter people names are like on the inside of the box looped around it.
Yeah. Did you find yours?
Like,
I found you.
I found mine. I found you.
I found Shamali. I found myself, obviously. I don't think I found Jacqueline or Greg.
So me and Chamali should have been pretty close because they did it alphabetical by first name.
True, but he put Chamali in.
Oh, he put Chamali? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm not disappointed. I'm excited to play it with my students. They're excited. You know, they're all fans of Sentinels at this point. At least in terms of, you know, environment and gameplay. They may not be as quite as invested as the rest of us, because and quite frankly not even me anymore.
Yeah.
RPD and I were having a conversation about that. It's like when the letters page started, I feel like a lot of the crowd was very different. Like you don't hear nearly the amount of like Brian Jewett letters or even like Russ letters or you know, anything from me or RPD anymore, because it's not. Huh?
Oh, like or me. I used to submit lots of letters also.
Right. And I was like, it's not our show anymore. It's still interesting, but it's not. I guess, you know, on some level I just text Adam if I have a question and maybe he can answer, maybe he can't, but like, but I don't think that's the main reason that I've kind of tapered off a little bit. It's just not the well, thank you Taylor Swift for this analogy. It's not the era of life I'm in anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say, we forgot to talk about it last week, but the Handelabra started the Sentinels 2
Yeah.
backer kit.
Yep. I
And yeah, I was debating whether or not I wanted to like even back it
yeah. Well,
versus
I think that the difference is here, Handelabra, like they released a complete product with the first game.
mhm.
And there's less of a need for me to play definitive edition digitally. Also,
Yeah.
I well, I mean, I know I'll get a copy one way or the other.
Mhm.
So I'm not. I also don't have any money. Like you know, I've got a furnace to pay off. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I was
have already decided that we have canceled Christmas. Like we're not doing it. You know?
it's like for me with the like original version, like I bought it on my iPad.
Yep.
Um like so iOS. I then bought it on Steam.
Yep.
Like bought it as a gift for some friends so I could play on Steam. And then ended up getting it on mobile also.
Yeah.
It's like I've bought this game like 4 or 5 times, if not
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much do I really get by getting the definitive edition versus like I mean, it's like do I like really need that much more? Like how much has changed?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
enough to really warrant like a full 2.0. Like I feel like I don't code. Like
Right.
I don't know like a lot of the computer stuff, but I feel like if you've already got so much of the framework of the original game, like how much gets added or changed
Yeah.
between essentially 1 and 2 at this point in time?
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
is it really worth it? Or could this not just be like their like HP tracker where it's like you can toggle between the two and it's just there?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I've been kind of teetering on and off about whether or not I back the backer kit. Because
Yep.
like right now, there's like they just announced like the only stretch goal is going to be whether or not to do Rook City Renegades, which is also you're just going to have to pay extra for the add-on at that point in time.
Right. Yeah, that's about that.
So yeah,
So we add a little black, just a tiny bit of that in there. And for added bite, brick.
but I did actually break out Definitive Edition last night and get to play it. So
Nice.
uh,
My copy lives at the school, and the students play it from time to time.
I was about to say a couple weeks ago I ended up breaking out the original version. And it's still downstairs because I lugged the Oblivion box all the way from my upstairs room to like my downstairs gaming table, and I was like, I'm not carrying this back upstairs.
You mean this original version?
Like the super giant black box.
Oh,
Oh no, not the enhanced edition or whatever. Yes, not that version.
not the one that Adam has repeatedly told me to burn.
Yes, not that one. But I enjoyed it. Like I showed like one friend, like I the definitive edition at the time. Um, and like he enjoyed it a lot, and so like he had come over, and so I got to show like his brother-in-law who came over to play games and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? Like I showed you the definitive edition. Let's break out the the first edition
Yeah.
and get to play like some of the like older heroes that I don't get to play anymore because they're not released yet.
They're not out, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we set up and played, and I ended up playing like Stuntman because he's like one of my favorites.
Love Stuntman.
Yeah. Because I can still and then like we ended up playing a second game. I got to play Omnitron X,
Ah,
which is
yes.
like also one of my favorites
I mean,
for obvious reasons.
yeah.
Like Fnatic is my all-time favorite, but I can still play her in Definitive Edition at that point in time. So
Right.
So yeah, gotta try out like all those different like or not different but older characters again, and it was like very pleasing and happy
Yeah, for
about it.
sure. We played. What did we play this week? Oh, Age of War. It's an old Fantasy Flight dice game. Not unlike Elder Sign, mechanically, but a little more simplistic here. It's feudal Japan. You're trying to conquer it. Roll dice, complete challenges, anger your opponents. And then this week we're off because I have a doctor's appointment. But next week we are playing one of my all-time favorite deck building games. It's called Don't Turn Your Back. I am not a fan of deck building games as a rule, but this is also a worker placement game. Therefore, I'm in. And to complete my copy, I had to go to war on Twitter with Will Wheaton.
Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting. Basically, Geek and Sundry started doing International Tabletop Day, and they made these exclusive promo packs that were only available if you basically spent a ton of money and were a store. Like, you had to be a store. Now, my boss was, of course, unwilling to spend that ton of money, and why should he? Just so Eric and I can get a couple of dumb promos. And so I started reaming out Will Wheaton over Geek and Sundry's handling of it. It was at the time when he and Felicia Day kind of owned the thing. And I didn't expect him to get back to me. But at that point, I was so riled up that I was just letting him have it. And I ended up apologizing later. I was like, I'm sorry. I know it's not your fault. But promo exclusivity is a really scummy practice. Like, I'm glad the industry has kind of moved away from it.
With the exception of so many Kickstarters.
Correct. But a lot of those tend to be companies that don't have the experience yet. And I've seen a lot of them be like, oh, this isn't what fans want. Okay, we're walking this back.
Yeah. What's gotten me a lot of times, like with Kickstarter in particular, is like so many companies that are like well established, like using it to like crowdfund stuff.
Yeah,
like I get it some for like newer that literally needs startup money to do it.
Right. But I'm sorry, Cool Mini or not should not be using Kickstarter.
Yeah. And I was glad like when I understood like when Greater Than Games did it with like Oblivion or something, because they kind of got their start, so they like went back to do it for Kickstarter out of like history, not necessarily
It's a nostalgia play, and
Yeah,
instead of a necessity.
yeah. But like for a while there, they had hopped off to launch their games and expansions and stuff. So
Yeah. But I do think backer kit has its place too. Like,
yeah,
for a product that you know you're bringing to market, you just need to know how many to produce. Like, that's
yeah.
kind of perfect.
That's like different than Kickstarter though in that regards.
It wasn't always, because backer kit was like a supplemental material to a Kickstarter. You'd launch the backer kit after your Kickstarter was done, and whatever. But like,
But then it could also allow for like late pledges and stuff like that to
exactly
help work like a pre-order and stuff.
I just had a Kickstarter pop the other day. Handheld Legend, shout out our pseudo sponsors. Go check them out. Links in the bio for 10% off, 10%, 5% off, something. I don't know, some coupon code. Go use it. They're great. They just dropped the GC Ultimate controller, which is a souped up version of GameCube controller, and they completely missed the calculation on how much they'd need to raise to unlock like their various color options for it. And they were like, oh, end of campaign, you know what, here, have all the color options, because apparently we need to order this many anyway, so might as well just unlock them. And I was like, well, okay, that kind of sucks, because you could have gotten a lot more people that way. Like, if you had known what those numbers actually needed to be, you would have had a lot more success. Like, yes, your Kickstarter was successful, but you could have done even better. And I don't know, it kind of sucks that you couldn't. Oh, lordy. Oh, okay. I know what I can do with that. Giving me little slippery things.
Slippery things? What?
Slipper-ish things.
Ah. There's an absurd amount of detail on her shoes.
Yeah. I guess I'm not super surprised by that.
So I was going to ask you, I have some options here.
Okay. I like options. Options are good.
To a slight stopping spot. So on She-Hulk, where's my pointer? Here it is. Okay. So obviously in like the classic costume, she's got like the white center with the purple sides, and that's like obviously built into the way that this model is designed.
Right.
So the and same with like the accents and stuff on her shoes, like the white base, and like your straps and some the accents are purple, and you get like that sort of sneaker stuff that she classically wore in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other thing in the model is there's like a noticeable like trim line and like zipper down the thing that I was like, do I just do that in the same purple on the outside, or do I do something like a really bright green to highlight the like distinctions between the two,
Ooh.
but still also fit like because it's green with like the green motif.
Yeah.
Because like as opposed to like the darker skin, like it's sometimes is like goes around the arm and leg, and so if you have like that really bright distinctive green that still delineates between her green flesh versus the clothes.
Um, I if left to my own devices, I think I'd go with the purple.
Just do the purple and
Yeah.
yeah.
Just because it is kind of traditional in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think I gotta say purple.
Just stick with purple and use the purple for accents.
Yep.
I'm sure that will turn out amazing still, and I will. That was kind of like my initial thought. Also, I was just trying to think of something neat to do,
Yeah,
possibly. So
for sure.
this is too watery.
That is too full of paint.
Opposite problems.
Yeah.
There we go. Also, bane of my existence, I'm painting white again with She-Hulk,
Ugh.
like Thrawn from last week.
Well, Thrawn came out great though.
I know. I'm essentially doing the same technique, starting with this grace here, and then I'm gonna like work up to my like matte white for the brightest bits.
Yep. That's how I
Although
do it.
she doesn't have like built-in like creases in the same way that Thrawn did, so I probably won't actually do any wash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Thrawn, I like spot washed like underneath his arms, like where his
Yeah.
arm and shoulder were,
As I did
and
with Kingpin, like
down like the line crease of his like chest,
yeah.
for like his
I do
suit.
feel I mean Thrawn and Kingpin, there's a lot of uh both tonal and technique similarities there that you can kind of tap into. Well, fine. They're both, wearing that real nice pressed, starched suit.
Mm-hmm. Other correction, I may actually still end up putting some wash on the shoes, but like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
on
yeah.
the rest of the bodysuit.
So
Because
here's
they're
a big risk I'm about to take. In the 1970s, black was done black, the color black was done by blue.
mm-hmm. Kind of
To
like where the
delineate between,
concept of like the blue suit Batman and stuff. It
yes,
was like always described as black, but in the ink it
it's always
looked
blue.
blue.
And I'm about to paint his hair blue. Hey, Blake, what's up? I don't have any kombucha tonight. I did not get to the store today. I apologize for that. Boy, this feels weird.
What, using blue?
Painting his hair blue. It's gonna be alright. Melon oil's gonna do its job. And everything's gonna be fine. Actually, he looks like something out of like Street Fighter or something like that right now, which I'm not upset about either. It is more or less the vibe.
Okay, how purple do I want this?
I would say, this is a strange response, but alarmingly, but not violently. Which seems exactly bass-ackwards for a Hulk, but I think it's correct.
Yeah, I think I just used this normal alien purple.
Yep.
Because, like, I've got Warlock purple, but that's too pink, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, like, Orc blood, that's just too flat.
Yep.
I don't think I have... That's not... Like, I have Phoenician purple, which I think is just, like, a richer... It's a little bit darker than the alien purple.
Right.
If it's not completely dry, which I don't think it is. I could use that, potentially. And I guess I have the Grimoire purple, which is not quite as flat as the Orc blood, but yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna... Ooh, I have a violet over here, which is pretty good. Although it matches pretty close to the Phoenician purple, so I could potentially just use that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the Citadel color for this one.
Is it the I'm looking right at it, but it's turned around. Nagaroth Knight?
No, it's the Phoenician purple.
Oh, you are going to the Phoenician. Okay.
And it's convenient. I can use it for both of them because Hulk's pants can be this color.
So as a yeah, that's true. In fact, I think that's what I did with my Hulk. So in hindsight, I'm realizing this might have contributed to my being let go at this previous job, but at a previous job, I definitely drew, like, after play rehearsal, a particularly non-productive play rehearsal. I drew the band director at my previous school as She-Hulk.
Oh.
But, like, I was in charge of backstage, you know? When the play itself is not progressing particularly well, backstage doesn't have a whole lot to do. We just sit there and wait for people to get their act together.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Always missing spots.
And I might need to break out some more green. I just realized that for She-Hulk, this model, her gloves are fingerless gloves.
Oh. Oh, then I know exactly. I know exactly which art that model is based on. Then. And it's the one I used to draw the music teacher. I cannot express how grateful I am to C27 that they did not try and sculpt his toes. I hate feet. Okay. If I recall correctly, there was a little bit of yellow that I missed. Oh, shoot.
I need a different brush.
I probably should have grabbed a different brush, and I just leaned into it. Meaning I have to now clean up blue, but that's fine. Blue over yellow, easy fix.
Yellow over anything else, that's a problem.
Yup. Yeah, you have to go all the way back to white. All right. Now, before I get any further, he's got bricks below him and fire that I think I'm going to do green as a contrast, and that's as a nod to the primary colors. The primary color of Special Marvel Edition 15 was green for whatever reason. So I'm going to do green fire, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I got Hex Wraith Flame. But I've also got some Green Stuff World stuff that I can tack in there that'll make it a little bit better. The thing that I would like to do, though, is the cover of Special Marvel Edition 15 had a yin and yang on his, like, on the floor right below Shang-Chi, and I want to see if I can sort of make that happen. Not entirely sure how I want to do that, so I think I'm going to start with a pencil, if I can find one. Here it is. That's all right. Can't seem to draw that. And what I think I want to try and do here is... No, that's Melanoma. That's purple. I wonder if I don't... Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. This actually may be foolish. I'm gonna try it. No, I think I screwed this up.
What'd you do?
I can't seem to draw the yin and yang properly. Because there's stuff in the way. I can't see what I'm doing. Just comes out ploopy. No. Right. I mean, it'll look okay, I think. Using contrast paint here, so or speed paint, so that I can still paint the tile over the top of it. Yeah, I actually think it's going to come out okay. It's recognizable, anyway. So what I'm basically doing is an artificial zenithal situation. I'm just tinting half the base one color. And then when I paint the base green, theoretically, the tone should be slightly different. Okay, that actually didn't come out horribly, I don't think.
That is always a plus.
Yeah, I think that works. All right. Now, I let that speed paint dry. Question is, do I do Hexwraith Flame next, or do I do... I think it's the Warp Lightning. And if I am correct here, this nice GW standard brush. Well, actually, I have a nice base coat brush from Army Painter that came with my speed paints. Let's see if this worked. Who knows? Oh, Gambit paid off. That looks cool. So the original comic book cover, the yin and yang was like really, really like loud. It was right there under his feet. black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using the green, which is also from the cover, to sort of hide that a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Your yin yang.
Yeah. Just kind of hidden in the base there. And then we'll bust out the Hex Rage Flame to finish this off. And we'll move toward inking.
So I'm going with Hulk here. Mm-hmm. One of the things I don't like about a lot of like iterations that they've done with Hulk recently, like in the MCU and other stuff in particular, is like this aversion to like really having him in this like purple pant type setup.
Yeah, it's like, why are we moving away from that? The purple pants are iconic.
Yeah, and so like they made the joke like in the Edward, like in the Incredible Hulk, and he had the big stretchy workout ones that were purple.
And I think Ruffalo had them briefly in Avengers, the first one. But
then it's like, no, they just want to like give him like blue jeans or like just not purple.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I enjoyed most about Deadpool and Wolverine. I think everybody did, is seeing Hugh Jackman finally in the yellow and blue suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after all these years. Get that with thinking, so I'm not super worried about it, but. All right, Warp Lightning, thank you for your service. Hexwraith Flame, you're up. Now, Hexwraith Flame, if memory serves, somewhere in between a contrast paint and Blood for the Blood God. God's sakes. Obviously, I will make this better with a bit of fluor paint next week, but we're not there yet.
Oop.
It's not often that I do the base before I do any inking, but because this one's so detailed, it has a lot going on, I decided to do it early. My eyes are starting to water. So it is supposed to be heckin' cold tonight up here.
Is it?
Yep. Winter weather is coming. I'm not upset about it. The leaves are mostly off at this point. Once that happens, it's like bring on winter. Trees just sit there and look ugly otherwise. There is still this one bit of the interstate highway that is absolutely beautiful. We get to see every time we go down to my parents'. And that's kind of nice. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, we haven't. Like some of our leaves are like changing and stuff, but most of the trees are still like fully covered. I've had like a little bit of leaves coming off the tree in my front yard, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, ours are down. All right. Thinking time here. Mostly Nolan oil, it seems. This time around. Hopefully I have enough. I'll start with Flesh Shade, though. Guess we'll use this one. Yep. This will add a little bit more life to his skin. That may have been too much. That was definitely too much.
How well is this paint gonna hold up?
Isn't that always the question? Earlier in the stream, I was going to comment, I don't think I've ever painted Asian flesh before. And then I realized I'd painted Jubilee. So that would not be true. His eyes came out very anime, and I kind of love it. All right, Nuln Oil, and lots of it. Ow. All right, my assumption on his hair was correct.
What's that?
Doing some pretty heavy lifting here. Turn it from blue to black.
What was I gonna? This one.
Let's just go for it. Burning out the motor in that thing? Jeez.
Apparently, yeah. Sorry, this is I'm using a paint that I haven't really used a lot more, so like getting the
yeah. You gotta get
ball bearing and stuff like out of the like pigment part versus the medium is.
Oh, it's such a pain.
Yeah.
I end up like banging mine on the counter.
Okay, let's see how this one looks now. Perfect. Mostly, I think. We will see.
My hand is metaphorically floating over the learning and growing button.
No, I was just trying to come up with a different green than I would be using on, because for their hair.
Right.
So I got this like really dark green, not as dark as I want it to be based on like kind of how the comics and stuff draw it.
Yeah.
But once I put like the Nuln Oil over it, like the black, like darkening it up with the black with the like hint of green still in it. If you can see like the top of Hulk now.
Nice. Nuln Oil definitely doing a lot of heavy lifting here for me. Really bringing out a lot of the detail.
I guess the other option I could have done if I actually come to think of it, maybe I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it. I was thinking like I could do like a grayish color and then like do the green, what is it? Built-in green wash over it for
Oh,
the hair.
yes.
It's like the opposite of doing the green with the black Nuln Oil over it versus
Yeah. And let's get the tiles too.
you need just a bigger brush because you've got more hair.
Yeah. Purely by merit of the fact that you are larger.
No, the She-Hulk versus Hulk's hair. Like
No, no, I was speaking to the hair specifically, not the character. In that instance. Let's get another coat in his hair here. Definitely do some work with actual black too, but. All right, I probably need to start planning next week's assault. think we'll use this fluorescent lime as well as fluorescent white on the fire. That seems strong. We'll use this Adriatic skin. Blood rights on that. Need a little bit of an orangey yellow. Probably just booyah orange. Or a little bit of spotlight yellow. And then the blue, which is at that point simply Troll Skin Blue.
Oh goodness, it's midnight. I'm not sure if I want
Sure
to.
is, yeah.
It's like I was about to just start another color, but then I was like, maybe I should just call it for now and
I think this is
come back to these two later.
Yeah, I think this is the point at which we call next week a part 2 and pick up where we left off. Just kind of cleaning up my workspace here, getting thoughts in order. I'm really happy with this so far.
Although, while I'm at it,
get the camera to focus. There we go.
So here is Hulk.
Nice.
And She-Hulk.
Very cool.
I think I am going to just go ahead for She-Hulk. And at least since I was kind of doing a full wash of the shoes, a lot of straps and stuff, just get that done. Because that's just kind of slap a small layer on and be done with it.
Right. I'm trying to figure out how I want to handle dry brushing the base, and I think I'm just going to do a green, like a really light, like, you know, Sybarite green kind of thing. Just real light, because it is supposed to be a tiled floor, like a dojo situation.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I put that yin and yang in, so it's a little bit more unique, but yeah, I'm quite happy with where this is going. This is looking good. A little bit of touching up to do. Definitely want to get a little bit more black in his hair, but not too much. Shang-Chi looked really strange in his first appearance. In fact, he looks like he's wearing pajamas, not a gi. So I like this character like design better, but I definitely wanted it to look like that original first appearance comic. Anyway, I do believe that it is time to go to bed.
That time of night.
Yep. So while Broody finishes up,
tell a bad joke for it.
What?
I didn't even have to tell a bad joke to go to bed.
No, yeah, it's just go to bed, Mike. All right, and while he does that, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you for those who watch on YouTube later after the fact. We do appreciate you very much. Just a quick reminder, Mike and I are both open for commissions. You can hit us up here and all on all our socials. Most of them are some derivation, or for me anywhere, most derivation of some derivation of Another Letdown or ALD_Zach or something like that. Just poke around. The links are down below. They're everywhere.
Yeah, mine's all pretty much Broody Gambit anywhere you look.
Yeah. So hit us up, even if you just want to say hi or thank you or whatever. We love that. And Yeah, anyway, take care, everybody. Be safe, be well, and I will talk to you on presumably Monday for something. I don't even know what I'm streaming at this point. We'll sort that out over the next 24 to 48 hours. Take care, everybody. Bye.
See ya.